Hello, hi, welcome everyone. Um, we're starting a new game today. That's exciting. Um, this is episode 0 of the Shadows of Esteren campaign. Woo!
Finally, I mean, we had a couple pauses in there, some side quests, but
Yeah. But everyone's back and everyone's ready to stare in some shadows. So to start off, I'll talk a little bit about like the area slash like the general like vibe of Shadows of Esteren, right? So it's described more as a dark gothic kind of like light horror elements. And so naturally the magical side of things isn't as prevalent, right? It is like there is a magic system involved, but it's not like D&D-esque where we're like throwing fireballs and like sprouting wings and stuff like that.
yeah, I mean, isn't it more like The Witcher kind of magic and vibe?
Closer to it, yeah. Most of the magic system it comes from like these stones, right? So there are 7 major ognum. I apologize for the entire campaign. I'm gonna probably pronounce a lot of stuff wrong. But there are 7 major ognum that are like the 7 elements through which all the spells are derived, right? So there are kind of like those are like your trees, and all magic branches off of those 7 trees, right?
Is it normal for people to encounter and like use magic on a day-to-day basis, or is it more
Not so much. There are they're like more of a tribe of people.
Okay.
Like maybe not a tribe of people, but I guess like because they exist everywhere, not as one tribe, but like basically people that study magic more than others, right?
Okay.
Each like smaller cities will have like maybe 1 or 2 of them.
Cool.
And then in bigger cities there will be a few more, but it's definitely not the majority of the people, right?
Okay.
And then magic are inscribed on stones, right? And it's usually pretty specific what kind of magic that stone does, right? So for example, there is like one of the 7 pillars of magic that I talked about earlier is animals, right? But a minor ognum, which is what people use to cast spells, would be like talk to rats, like Damien and I joked about earlier, right? It will be very specific. Are specific-esque, right? Like a water one might be ice, but you can turn water into ice and ice into water. You can't like summon ice from nowhere, right? Like they're
Cool.
pretty constrained. There's also different power circles when it comes to casting, right? And how that works is the stronger you want your spell to be, 1, the better you have to be at magic in general, and 2, like you will get a penalty to your speed, right? And if you suffer like a pretty significant blow while you're trying to cast, your spell will fizzle. Yeah, so that's like a brief look at magic. Other than that, I guess if you kind of think of like normal tribal people, that's kind of the vibe of most of the people on the continent. You have like people that live on these like in forest villages or like down by the coast or like very few up in the mountain. There is a mountainous region, but it's like pretty dangerous, right? And the conditions are pretty harsh. So not a lot of people live up there. It does divide a lot of the continent. It's like kind of like a mountain ridge. So travel to certain places gets pretty perilous because of it. And then you have cities where certain ways of life are more prevalent, right? So we already talked about magic, right? So like there are a few tribes with that. They're more like naturalists, so they prefer forested areas. And then you have I don't want to call them priests, but they're basically followers of the one god, right? Which is like, I guess your would-be cleric of the game. It's kind of like the system itself is a little similar to the magic system. But basically they invoke what's called miracles, and anyone who would start their character as a follower of the one god would start with 1 miracle, and based on what they do throughout the campaign will awaken to other miracles that they can then perform later. And they're just magians, right? Which is like a weird mix between magic and science. It uses this resource called flux, which is like extracted from living things and some minerals. And some cities are really big on it. They use it to like power their lamps, to like use like what we would consider like electric tools, right? And other cities don't have any of it at all, right? They're not big on it. None of these are like super diverse, right? You'll see a lot like those who believe in God, right, and those who believe in magians usually butt heads because they're kind of like opposing theories. But that isn't to say like magians, whatever, magic scientists, wouldn't think that God gifted magians to save the world, right? There is complexity in those ideals, right? But in a general sense, people of faith and people of science, they usually butt heads. The opposing force are like the general baddie, these like creatures called Feondas. And they take like pretty much any form I want, right? There are some that just looks like perversions of nature, right? They might look like a boar that has like extra mouths or heads are just enlarged. They might look like almost people, right? But their skin might be off colored, and part of like their limbs might be replaced with like stones or bark or like just other elements, right? In some cases, they can look pretty close to human. And then they can be anything in between, right? They can be trees that come to life and try to grab you. They can be like weird, horrific creatures, but they are like, as long as like history has been written, they have existed and they have been at war with mankind, essentially. As far as people goes, travel is usually far and few between unless you're like a well-established caravan that can protect itself, or you have a variable that can like show you the safe route. Reading and writing isn't super big. A lot of stories are told orally, right? Even in the more bustling cities, reading and writing is like kind of a more pinkies up type deal. So a lot of people can't read. A lot of people can't write, right? What else?
So beyond like the magic and science kinds of stuff, are there like regular ass knights or?
Yeah, there
anything like
are.
that?
Yeah, a lot of people. I'll have to double check. I think the average person has a mandatory 2 years of military service that they would have served at some point or will serve at some point.
So is everyone just under like one central government, or?
I think most like the bigger cities kind of fall under the same like lifestyles.
Okay.
But there are like excuses. Some are even suggested by the book why you might have avoided military service, right? Especially if you have some injury or illness, like you're just kind of useless in the military, right? But yeah, the vast majority of people are just normal people, right? Like you have they're more like knights, right? You have knights or soldiers in the army that kind of like serve protecting the city or protecting caravans as they go back and forth if they're not involved in any current major conflict. And then other than that, you have most regular occupations that you could think of, right? You have like weaponsmiths, armor smith, you have like tinkerers, people that like raise horses, people that watch inns, right? Like some less than respectable jobs, right? They're like pretty much all a thing. A lot of them are listed in the book. And as you make your character, you'll kind of pick one, and that will determine your starting wealth as well as like things you can do when you hop from city to city to make a little extra earning, right, while you're in the city. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, who made this game?
Agate. There's two names here. So it's Agate RPG, Agate RPG, and then there's I'm gonna mispronounce this. It's Forge. I think it's Songes, the collective of authors and illustrators. I'm pretty sure it's Songes, but those two are the contributors to the game.
Yeah, and we'll have the links to wherever their sites are and everything in the show notes.
But yeah, that's like a brief overlook of that.
Cool.
Do we have any more questions about the world in general, or do we want to jump into character creation?
Mechanics.
Oh, right. Where to start? Do you want to? So combat's a little complicated, so maybe we'll start there.
Okay, and if it's easier just to like demonstrate it in play, that's fine too. But this is a D10 system, right?
Yeah. So you have like 5 ways that are like your attributes essentially. Let me find the list really quick.
I think on the sheet: combativeness, creativity, empathy, reason, and conviction.
Yeah, and then so most of your rolls will fall into one of the 5, and you'll D10 plus the roll plus if there is a discipline that also applies, you'll add that too. So like most of your skills, you'll have a domain, right? So one will be like close quarters combat. And under that domain, you have several disciplines. So once you reach level 5 in a domain, you can start branching out into disciplines, which means you'll just get a higher bonus if you're in that focused area of that domain.
Okay.
But it is a D10 system, right? So all your rolls will be a D10. The crits failing or succeeding is kind of hard. You would have to get 10 twice in a row to crit succeed, and similarly, you would need a 1 twice in a row to crit fail.
Dang.
Okay. I might look into modifying that because I just feel like it might not happen at all if I don't. But we'll see. It's also like not super roll heavy as far as like most of the role play goes. I am like reading the book. I am very heavily encouraged to if you're trying to persuade someone and you hit their motivation on the nose, like you say something that just would make sense for them to sway their opinion, you will probably just sway their opinion, right? If you're a little off, then I'll involve a roll and then we'll set the difficulty threshold based on what you're asking for and like whether or not it makes sense for them to like want to agree with you. But if you're looking for something, you're trying to persuade someone, or if you're doing it almost exactly right, I'm just gonna give it to you essentially.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean that's a good thing for any GM to do.
I think so
honestly.
too. I think there's a lot of times the meme I think of. I don't remember where I heard it, but it's like there is a river, and like maybe like 20 paces to the right, there is very obviously a bridge. But your DM makes you roll perception, even though any normal person could just see the bridge to the right, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's not gonna be super heavy on. Like we were still roll, right? Obviously, it's a TTRPG, but there will be more leniency in like you RPing instead of just like the RP kind of just being flavor for the roll. It will have like a very heavy aspect on the roll.
Sweet.
Cool.
Neat. That being said, you want to get into character creation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited.
I'm a little lost. This is a little more complicated than what I'm used to,
I think once we get into
but I
it,
am still excited.
it'll all work itself out. Give me 1 second.
I'm
I've lost
just
the page.
excited for the creepy.
The creepy stuff.
Yeah. Like, I love a dark gothic horror. I'm here for it. I'm excited about it. I
Yeah.
don't really even care like what time period it's in. I just really like this type of like foggy, dark, grungy feeling thing.
Yeah.
Like when you go through their book, they talk about the influences, and it says that like for the landscapes, they looked at Braveheart. For the roughness and romanticism, they took Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow, as well as Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula,
Okay.
and like a bunch of
Interesting.
Victorian and Gothic type stuff from that. The Shining is one of their influences when they were creating the story.
Fun.
And then they said, as far as like literary stuff goes, they've got Frankenstein, the modern Prometheus, Cthulhu mythos, and like some Stephen King stuff. Like this is just such a fun vibe that we
Yeah.
haven't really done before, and I'm really excited about it.
I'm really nervous. I'm worried I won't be able to do it justice because I'm naturally a goofy dude, right? But I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be a good time.
Hey,
You'll do good.
I believe
most
in
of
you.
my favorite actors were comedians at some point.
It's true. I am a
Right?
clown.
Like, have you ever seen what's that new Adam Sandler one where he plays
Uncut Gems.
Yeah, dude, that is one of the most intense movies I've ever seen. And I was expecting Adam Sandler to just make a stupid joke and break it. He didn't. It was amazing. Anyway,
Also, they sponsor that movie.
Adam Sandler.
No.
Sponsor us, Adam Sandler.
So is
That makes
this
sense,
mostly
but
is this mostly like a adventure path kind of a game system, or does it lend itself to just kind of like making up your own kinds of stories? Because like Bunkers and Badasses, for instance, it's got like one adventure path or two maybe in there, so it's more for like creating your own kinds of stories. I was just wondering how this one is.
Yeah, so books 1 and 2 are mostly just world setting / like getting a feel for like the world, the history, and like the environments and like the threats. And on those 2 books alone, you're probably like, I don't think there is like, I think the prologue, like book 0, the prologue has a few like mini adventures that you could use to start a campaign, right? But then the rest of the books don't give you like a campaign, right? They give you like, the prologue gives you like a couple one shots, and then you're on your own, right?
Cool.
Which I enjoy. They do have like book 3 starts a campaign from the creators that they're fleshing out themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, book one is actually kind of nuts because it's like the vast majority of it is like the universe and the history, and then in the back you're like character creation and the mechanics. So
I was looking at the table of contents. I was
yeah,
like, geez,
the vast majority of it is like
cool though.
it's super cool. It's actually stoled. It's actually told in like letters, like written by different people. It makes it really interesting to read like how the universe is from different first person perspectives. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, I think that actually helps get a better feel than just having like, long narration of, You know, this is what
This is what happened this year, and then this other year.
Or read
Yeah.
like a textbook.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah. So there are two options suggested in the book when it comes to character creation. I'm gonna read them both, and then I'm gonna say what I think we should do, and then we'll kind of take a democratic approach to it.
Demonic.
A demonic approach.
Summon a demon, he'll make the choice for us.
Blood pact. Here we go.
No, he's the one that's supposed to try and do blood pacts.
Oh.
No, but we all do the blood.
No, but
pact.
you're Abby.
What? Oh wait.
From Mall Kids, you're always trying to
Oh,
poke your
yeah.
finger into a blood oath.
When I was a teenager, I'd be like, oh yeah, because I was trying to be evil.
We're just trying to do one crime.
The normal order is you pick an ethnicity, you pick your profession, birthplace, and social class, and then you get into like your character more in a mechanical sense. So you get into the ways, which are like your attributes. You get into your age and your setbacks, which will kind of like determine how much starting experience you have, plus like what might have happened to you as you aged. And then you get into the fifth step, which is character traits, sanity, and personality. Right? The alternate order is 3, 4, and 5 first. So you do the ways, your age, and then your character traits, which to me makes more sense to do that first before you pick your ethnicity and your profession.
Yes.
Because you might want to incorporate that into the character you already have in your head, right? So that's my personal vote, is that we start with the ways.
Yeah.
And then we'll go back to ethnicity and profession, birthplace, social class.
Yeah,
if
that
that
works.
sounds good to everyone.
Yeah.
That sounds fine
I
to
think
me.
that's kind of what we've tended to do with Pathfinder, at least, is try to do kind of like your career first and then figure out race. So that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I like having an
First,
idea of
family
like,
later.
Yeah.
yeah, it's easy to have an idea of like how you want your character to play, like, kind of, and like where you want them to have come from, and then give that more of a form later while you're just kind of like shooting off the dome.
Yeah. And I feel like, especially where most of us don't really have a good feel for this game, that would also help with that decision making process. So,
Yeah.
I keep on getting super stressed out and worrying about whether or not it's recording.
You're me. Yeah, no, same.
I'm like checking the waves. I'm like, does that look right?
I do want to take a second to talk about the ways a little bit in more detail. So I'm going to do that.
I would appreciate that.
I'm just going to read from the book because I think they cover it pretty well. The 5 ways are mental characteristics that determine the major traits of the character's personality, his way of seeing the world, and taking action. The ways will be of use to him in his daily life. For example, he will make use of his combativeness in every moment in which a strong... I always miss this word up. Pugnacity? In which strong pugnacity will be needed to overcome an ordeal. Here are descriptors of the 5 ways, right? So combativeness. It reflects pugnacity, the drive that leads to action, and the passion of living. Creativity. The ability to imagine, to give original meaning to one's own life, inventiveness, and resourcefulness. Empathy. The bond linking a human being to his environment. For example, the Morthen, the mages of the world, use empathy to commune with nature. At the relational level, empathy means the ability to feel the emotions of another person. Reason. Rationalization, intellect, but also research and reflection. It shows the learning ability of a character, his curiosity, etc. And finally, conviction. Generally, a human hangs onto an ideal or principles along his life. Some turn towards religion, others abide by precepts of chivalry, while others follow a personal code. And it really focuses on, like, when you're making your character, like, sure, there will be roles attached to these ways, right? But you want to use them as a character driving force first, right? Like, if you want to play a very timid character, it doesn't make sense to give them high combativeness, right? Because those conflict each other. There's also a little bit I want to read. There's a passage that explains what the ways are not, right? I want to read that. Do not forget, at this stage of PC creation, his build, intelligence, and appearance are all average. The ways do not correspond to physical characteristics, nor is their aim to quantify brains or beauty. A PC with high combativeness will not necessarily be a muscular person. He will be someone full of energy who may be nervous or have a very strong character. A PC with strong reason will not necessarily be educated or quick-witted. He will be a thoughtful person with a tendency for intellectualization. So on and so forth. It basically goes on to say that like different ways, but that is important to think about, right? Like you're not strong because you're high competitive. You're energetic, right? You're not smart because you have high, I forget what it was, reason, but you do think about your actions before you take them, right? With that being said, there are 2 ways to go about your initial rating of the ways. There is, you get the numbers 1 through 5, like 1 of each number, and you can put them in any way you want. Or you can distribute a total of 15 points any way you wish, but you have to have one way that is rated a 1 or a 5, which I kind of like because I think that leads to a little bit more diversity. But if you guys really like the other way better, we can do it that way. I'm not super partial.
Let's do that way.
The 15
point
points.
buy.
Yeah, I think with the point buy, we can get a little bit more dynamic characters.
Okay. So, in case you need to hear it again, 15 total points you can spend. The only stipulation is that one of your ways must be rated 5 or 1. You don't have to have 5 and 1, but one has to be either a 5 or a 1 at least.
Okay, cool.
I'll give you guys a minute to do that while I sit here and think to myself.
Math.
Okay, I'm sorry I took forever. I'm done now.
Okay.
No, you're good. Is that out, everyone?
What are we supposed to have done?
Just the ways.
Okay.
Sorry.
May
I
have-
couldn't do math, and I was trying to follow this thing, and then I was like, no, I can do it on my own. And then I could not. So if you're terrible at math, just follow what the book says.
Yeah.
May I have my book back?
No, it's mine.
What could you possibly need it for, Wesley?
I know, stop. Don't give me any ideas.
Got him. You got him. Oh. Hold
Now
on.
you
I'm
know
not
what
ready.
it feels like.
Ow.
The
All
next
right.
part is age, right? So I'm gonna read it, but if you need a second to like think your character through before you decide how old they are, that's fine. Like I would personally. I'm just gonna TLDR it. So let me R it so I can TLDR it. Wah 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 wah. Wah 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 wah. Wah 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 wah. Wah 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 wah. Wah wah wah. Okay, I got it. Wait. Wah 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 wah. Okay. Here are the restrictions to making your character's age, right? And we can talk about it if you have like a really good reason you want to curb one of these, right? It's not set in stone. I'm God, right? But can't be younger than 16, can't be older than 35. It is assumed you've already completed your military service unless you want to have dodged it somehow, or you have some other like backstory reason as to why you couldn't serve. And then you also have setbacks, right? So here are like the ranges. If you're 16 to 20 years old, actually, let me actually read this so it makes a little more sense. The player chooses the age of the character. The older the character is, the more he will have learned, and the more he will be marked by the hardships of his peninsular life. Because we're on a peninsula. It makes sense. I should say that so it makes sense. This will be represented by one or several setbacks that he will be affected by. So if you're 16 to 20, you get no skill bonus, you get no setbacks, right? You're just a normal dude who's relatively young. 21 to 25, you get +1 in one domain, which we'll get to later. And then you'll get 1 setback. 26 to 30, +1 in 2 different domains, 2 setbacks. 31 to 35, +1 in 3 different domains, 3 setbacks. What's a setback? I hear you cry. I'm glad you asked. Womp, 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 womp. This is how it works, right? You'll roll a d10. I have a table here. I don't want to spoil them all, so I'll just read one of them, right? 6 is illness. The character was very ill, but he survived. The player chooses the illness. The stamina rating of the player character is reduced by 1 point. Right? So you'll do this as many times depending on how old your character is. I'm gonna say canonically because I don't care that much. If you want to be older than 35 for whatever reason, you'll just take the 3. Right? Like, I'm not gonna make you suffer 78 setbacks because you want to be 90, but you'll probably die really soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I get to use the old man voice.
I thought I had the same. I had the same. Every time I thought of a doing this campaign, I was like, some old dude's gonna show up at some point, and it's gonna be great. Everyone's gonna love it.
So I think I want my character to be right at 16.
Okay.
Yeah. That
And
is my
then
plan.
would you have just ended your military service? Are you
Yes.
thinking? Okay.
Yeah. Well, actually, maybe he was still part of it. If he was a squire to a knight
Who eventually died.
who died, then maybe like I couldn't find another knight to apprentice under, and that's why
You're like
I
on
left the
temporary
military
yeah.
service. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we can roll with that.
Cool.
I am 17. Finished the military service, but was super salty about it all. And then was like, no, Dad, I don't want to go back to the farm and be a peasant anymore. I want to go and do rat catching because that's a better life.
Hey, in San Francisco in like the 1900s, yeah, you make good money doing that.
There we go. That's my motivation.
Was that a
Yeah,
thing?
because there's the plague in San Francisco.
Yeah, but wasn't it also
Oh,
really
okay.
dangerous because of the plague in San Francisco? Like,
You
didn't you
still
have a
get-
high risk of getting the plague if you were?
Yeah,
But now you can afford the medical bills.
That's right.
I didn't really think about that. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, they're paying you a lot because you might die, right? Like,
Yeah, let's just get flea spray. Spray the
I
shit out of the
guess.
rats. I guess they probably didn't have that. I don't know. Get
you're
some
great.
tongs.
You're gonna do
bro.
great as a rat catcher, Damien. You're gonna pop off. No
You
plague
should
here.
make sure you have a pair of tongs.
Wait, was that always over there?
Yeah.
You're capping.
What are you talking
Uh,
about?
The rejects thing?
No cap.
Been there for months.
That's like, that can't be true.
Yeah, that was before I.
Shut
Yeah.
up. No, you guys, this can't be right. You guys are all toxic. How old are you? Go.
24, just like you.
You just
Oh, dang it. I was just lying. I don't.
you're capping, bro. So is your character actually 24 just like me? I'm not 24, by the way.
I was going to say. What are the age groups again? Sorry.
16 to 20, no setbacks, no bonus. 21 to 25, 1 and 1. 26 to 30, 2 and 2, and then 31 to 35, 3 and 3. If you're wondering how useful that extra skill point is, I couldn't tell you. I've never played this game before, so
Thanks.
Thanks.
it's probably neat.
I'm gonna be 28.
28.
Yeah.
Mom's going to be 32.
You still can.
But that feels like an old lady.
It is an old lady.
You say
in this group.
32 is an old lady?
In this group, yeah. If the oldest we can be,
I'll
per
be the
game rules
mom.
is 35.
True.
32 is like knocking on death's door, you know?
That's just the oldest your character can be starting out with for like reasonable whatever. It's not like the a life expectancy doesn't stop at 40. You know what I'm saying?
But
Like,
if it's medieval,
Yeah, you're probably not living that
life
long, but-
expectancy ended at like
No.
40.
See, the issue with that was there was just like a lot of infant mortality.
those
Yeah,
mortal
life
infants.
expectancy has gone up, but like infant mortality really skewed the statistics.
Oh, because it brings down the.
I mean, there are a lot more ways to die.
No, but I feel like a lot of people died in like their 40s and 50s.
we might even not even
because they
get
didn't
there
have
with how the game
modern
goes.
medicine. Yeah.
Yeah, we got science.
No, I'm gonna
Magians.
live to be like 60.
That's more than I want.
I'm a middle-aged woman.
Can't say that. 32 and 28.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll do 28 first because it's less.
Okay.
So mark some on your sheet that you get to add one skill bonus to 2 different domains. That's important. You can't do 2 in the same one.
Okay.
And then roll a d10 for me. A den, if you would. This would suck for me as a player. I never know what the d10 is.
It's a 1.
You got a 1?
Yeah.
Bad luck. The life of this character was particularly harsh. Roll twice on the table and ignore any subsequent ones.
Wow. So
You're
gonna
I'm
have
going to
a-
get 3 now?
Yeah, so you're gonna have a total of 3 setbacks.
That's some bullshit. Okay.
Pretty unlucky.
6.
Hey, the example one. Illness. The character was very ill but survived. The player chooses the illness. The stamina rating of the PC is reduced by 1. So just mark that somewhere.
Okay. Two.
A wound. The character has a debilitating injury. At the player's choice, it can be a gash across a part of the body. It can be a missing limb. A lesion that gives them a limp. The stamina rating of this PC has 1 point penalty.
Oh my gosh.
Now I'm worried about being 32.
And then you can define the events that have led to this wound, right?
Okay. And then my last one, I'm going to roll.
I think that means your max stamina is 1 less, right? It's not the same as -1, I believe.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm just making sure we're in agreement.
I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
Pog. Say 10.
7.
That's not 10. Violence. The character endured harsh moments that caused him 1 permanent trauma point that must be added to the sanity chart. Define the nature of these events. It can be a horrific encounter with Feondas, participation in a military campaign, a childhood spent in familiar abuse, etc. It's
Wow.
like, yeah, you have trauma.
Oof.
On the back page, it has a trauma section.
Yay.
Okay. And then for you to be marked somewhere that you'll have 3, you can add 1 to 3 different domains.
Okay.
And then we two will roll the gauntlet with you. I hope you get different ones at least. I hope you get a 10 at least one time. It's death. It's not.
4.
A rumor. A mysterious rumor, maybe a truthful one, hangs around the character. Crime, sacrilege, treason must be determined by the player with the leader's agreement. So we'll decide what people say about you behind your back and whether or not it's true.
Okay.
Do it again.
10.
Pog. The character came very close to disaster. Define what sort of event it was with a new roll on this table and the way that the character avoided its consequences. Ignore any subsequent 10s. So basically, you'll have 1 less setback overall.
Oh, sick.
Cool.
I'm like anti-Misty.
Some bullshit.
You're like a 30-year-old in a 28-year-old's body, and I'm a 28-year-old in a 32-year-old's body. That's not a big difference.
So this roll will be the sucky thing you avoided, and then we'll do it one more time. For
3.
You avoided adversity? An adversary.
Oh.
Yeah, that one's kind of cool. Following a particular event that must be defined, the character has made an enemy. Although he is not a mortal enemy, he holds a grudge against the character. For example, that enemy can be part of a faction, Magicians Demorthan, or be a jealous lord from a faraway province.
That's kind of a bummer.
I guess your enemy died. I don't know.
I gotta roll a 3 again.
I believe in you.
I rolled a 1.
Oh no.
That's a bad luck one. So you get 2 now. So I guess it balances out to like the same.
Here we go.
So you're saying I can still get an adversary?
You can still get an adversary. That one's kind of cool. That's like the coolest one.
Got a 7.
Did I already give you this one?
I don't know.
Violence?
No.
Did I
You
give you
gave-
violence?
Yeah,
Okay.
Misty got 7.
The character endured harsh conditions at a point in their life. You get dinged on your sanity chart, and you can decide what is giving you this trauma. TM.
Does that just mean that you fill
What-
in one of these trauma bubbles?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. Is there
There's
let me see
bubbles.
the
It says balance, syndrome, madness.
yes that.
All right. I don't understand it, but okay.
I'll read about it later.
All right.
Basically, there's an optional mechanic, which is sanity, and the more you witness / are victim to horrible events, you descend into madness, which can be a little tough to play out, right? So I guess we could ask the question whether or not we want to do it. I think it's neat. If it seems like it'll be a handful,
We're cracked.
yeah, I
got
think
I'm
this.
so down.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
3.
oh hey, you have an adversary.
Nice.
Someone hates you for some reason.
That guy's brother that you killed.
Yeah, he never forgave you.
He hates
if
me
you wanna-
because of one of the rumors.
True. Wait, that's a good one. Yeah, we can flesh it out in more detail later or now.
All I really wrote was rumor, violence, adversary.
That works. Let me look at this.
We'll see. That could have been worse.
So a part of this step is your character's history, right? Whereas essentially you sum up your childhood as life, right? It's like the main facts of their life and what ambitions they have. There's space on your character sheet that you can write on, or you can do it on a separate page. We can just like skip this for now and come back to it later if you guys prefer.
Yeah, I think maybe like
Yeah.
between sessions we can think up
Yeah.
a story.
Flesh out backstories.
Yeah. I do want to read this. Not that you don't have the PDF, but it's just some stuff to think about. Childhood and family history, important social and romantic relationships, events that shaped her character, her first experience in her profession, strange or mysterious facts, ambitions, goals, and motivations, and etc. So, I'll send the page later, but that's on 209. Whenever we do that, but see, that's why I can't do this game, man. I say dumb shit. But yeah, so there's stuff to think about when you're making your character's stories back.
Are we doing occupation next?
No.
Okay.
How about you let me deal? No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry, man.
God.
Stop. Look,
And
there's
that's
a
the end of our show
Yeah.
for today,
Mom and
everybody.
Dad getting a divorce.
We're doing character traits, sanity, and personality. What does that mean, right? There's like, hold on, let me want this.
Okay, I'm only asking because we've skipped that part.
That was like, I was like one, right? Is it on this page? No,
No, it's way back.
yeah.
Before
It's 3,
the
4,
ways.
5. It's steps 3, 4, 5, and then we go back. We're on step 5. This
Okay.
one we're about to do is step 5.
Step 5.
Yeah. We're doing it like the way you watch Star Wars.
Yeah, we're
Okay,
doing
gotcha.
Manhattan
Canon on and
order,
like,
not the chronological order.
canon.
Each
Canonical.
Yeah,
Canonical.
the carbonacle.
Yep.
Yep.
Carbonara.
Traits.
Carbonara.
Each player has to have 2 traits. One flaw, one flex. They are determined. They are determined according to the ratings.
Wait. Oh, flux. Okay.
Flux?
Wait, I don't know. There's a flux area. That's what I thought you said.
No, one flaw, one flex. Like one flaw, one strength. I'm just saying flex because I'm on TikTok a lot.
Okay.
They will be picked from the list below. I'll hand you the list in a second. They are determined according to the ratings and ways previously chosen, right? A 4 or a 5 in a way gives access to the major rating qualities and the major flaws for that way. A 1 or a 2 gives access to a minor rating. Any combination is possible. The flaw and the quality may be picked in the same way, in different ways. You can have 2 major or minor ratings. The only stipulation is you have to have 1 strength, 1 flaw, right? So I'll hand you the list so you can it's on page, if you want to look in the PDF, it's on page 210. But essentially you have this table of flaws and strengths. And if you have a 5 or a 4 in a rating, you can use the major flaws and the major strengths. And if you don't, you can use the minor ones. You can pick any 2, right? You can pick 2 from the same way. You can pick whatever you want, right? But you have to have 1 strength and 1 flaw. This is just kind of like this guides your like idea of your character. So pick ones that you think would apply to your character. And again, if you like think it sounds like your character, but you're not really sure, and then you're playing it out, and you're like, we can make it a lemon or whatever Damien said earlier.
And do we write this right next to our ways, or is there a spot for that? Wait.
On the last page, personality, you have
character traits.
You have character traits right there.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you.
I forgot all of the instructions. Do we just?
you have the list?
I know. I have the list.
Okay.
How many are we supposed to do?
You get 1 strength and 1 flaw.
Okay. That's it.
You can pick.
I can pick it from whichever one. And the major rating, you have to have like a 5 in it.
You have to have a 4 or 5.
4 or
to pick the
5,
major
okay.
rating, strength / flaw.
Okay. Thank you. Teacher, he's going ahead of us. Sorry.
I'll take the PDF back, David. You already started the sanity stuff then?
Mhm.
Okay. Does anyone need more times with the flaws or strengths?
I do have a question before we move on.
Pop off.
So on the ratings, it gives like a list of words, and then it's like obviously etc. So like you could add to it if you wanted. Are you supposed to just pick one word?
Yes.
Okay, cool. We can move on now.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Sanity. Whoa. I will kind of do this step by step. Except for Damien, who's done.
Sorry for telling him.
No.
No. You have to rat him out.
Sanity is a mechanic. We're going to use it throughout the game. There are three aspects. Three aspects to your sanity. There is consciousness, instinct, and trauma. Here are the definitions and the formula. So by the on the character sheet where your sanity is, just below that, you should see like consciousness and instinct.
That's under personality.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's not. So I'm going to give you the formulas now, right? So consciousness. This aspect shows how important rationality is to the player character, how rooted he is to reality, and how logical, thoughtful, and resilient his mind is. It's your way of, the math is way of reason plus way of conviction, right? So you take those numbers, you add them together, that's your consciousness. And then we have instinct. The driving urges of living beings. This aspect notably includes survival and self-preservation instincts, as well as everything related to sexuality. Its way of combativeness plus creativity. Those two numbers together will give you your instinct. Pog. Now we have starting trauma. Trauma depicts all of the psychological wounds that weigh on a player's consciousness and disorganize one's instincts. This aspect is dynamic, as is its constant evolution, and interacts with two other aspects. It is a sanity chart that is gradually filled. If a PC suffers a psychic injury, he receives one or several temporary or permanent trauma points according to the gravity of the event. So, you have no trauma at the start, except for some of you who have suffered setbacks. Your personality's orientation, basically, if you have a higher rating in consciousness, you have what's called a rational orientation. And if you have a higher rating in instinct, you have what's called an instinctive orientation. And if they're equal, you get to pick one of the two. Blah, 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 blah. This general orientation will be useful in managing the evolution of the PC's sanity. I want to get to the math. Okay. Calculate the difference between the two ratings. The result translates into an equal amount of permanent trauma points. Does that make sense? So if you have a 6 in one and a 4 in the other, take 2 trauma points.
Yeah, like I have a 4 consciousness, a 6 instinct. So my orientation is that I'm instinctive. And because difference between the two, marked 2 in the old trauma box.
Trauma bubbles.
Yay. I got 3 trauma bubbles.
Me too.
Yeah. It's just like us in real life. Trauma.
Very lost.
So many trauma bubbles.
Do you have your
So
two things?
hers equal each other, so she doesn't get any
no trauma?
added trauma, right?
Yeah, but you pick
Nice.
which one you want your character to lean towards. It's not really that big a deal orientation wise. It's just kind of like, is your character more rational or instinctive?
Oh, okay.
And then no extra trauma because you're a well balanced individual.
I like that there are a lot of aspects of this that they help kind of guide you to like really build a
It's because
character.
they're really big on
Yeah.
like the role play aspect of it, right? So they do a lot to try to like help you get like a more defined idea of how you're gonna play your character.
I see that a lot in the book. They're like, hey, you're trying to have fun. Like, don't feel like you need to be super dramatic like other people if they're like it's your first time role playing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little blurb about that, and I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, the writers of the book are really cool about like, hey man, have a good time, have fun. If you feel like a role is necessary, do it. If you
Especially
don't,
for
fuck it, bro.
Such a complicated looking
Yeah.
game too. It's like really like, hey man,
Yeah,
we're
we have
here to
all
have
these rules,
fun.
but hey, we're chilling. You know what I'm saying?
Gonna do a lot of math, but other than that, it's gonna be nice. I am
All right, we're all good. Okay.
Ready.
We're gonna calculate mental resistance. Do you all know where that is on the sheet? I'm asking you because I do not.
It's underneath sanity.
Cool.
Right there.
So your mental resistance is equal to the rating in your way of conviction plus 5. This will be adjusted later by choosing, like it can be adjusted with some advantages when we get to that part, but base, it's your conviction plus 5. And this one, well, I think we'll probably do this as an aside after this, like whole character creation. But I didn't want to call it out because it's like a thing. So it's about your sanity chart and mental disorder, right? Because that's where you're kind of going down if you keep suffering trauma points. And so it says, it is subdivided into 4 states, each one with 5 boxes: balance, symptom, syndrome, and madness. The effect of each state will be different according to each PC's latent pathology. So at creation, the leader and a player may agree upon the mental disorder the PC will develop as his sanity is damaged, right? And we will do that at some other point. and we don't have to like other players don't have to know, right? So we can talk about it, and then as you go insane, if you start to go insane, you can just start to show those symptoms, right? I think it's a little more fun that way. If you want everyone to know, we can talk about that too. But I figure that's something we can save for an aside.
Cool.
I do kind of like that you pick it initially to start going down.
Yeah,
that.
where your mind will go once you start freaking out.
Yeah.
And then there's another spot on your sheet that you can write your personality, and again, we can take time to do that later. But now we can go back and talk about earlier stuff. Steps 1 and 2. I flipped too many pages. Hey, editor, take this out. I want to sound smart. Okay. So there is, when it comes to step 1, right, which is the ethnicity, the people in different areas just kind of look different, and some of them have different ways of life. It's kind of a lot to read. I think it might be better for you guys to just skim it. If you really want me to read it, I will. It's just kind of a lot of words.
We could just skim it.
It's on 202.
I want to be like a commoner, like city person. Is there one that's like more prevalent in Esteren? Just the boring person.
People of Tri-Kazel constitute a very large majority of the population.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the Osag people, used to relying on each other, hardened people, have clans.
They make great warriors.
Make great warriors. The Tarish people are nomads.
Yeah, they're cool. So they came from like other places. A lot of the book gets into like the history of them a bit. A lot of Tarish that you'll see today are usually halves, right? Like one half is Tarish, the other half is like more local. And they're pretty rare, right? Because like getting here is pretty hard. The seas are like wah, 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 and so it's really hard to like come and go from the continent. But
I want to be. Sorry, I was way far away from the mic. I want to be that kind.
Okay.
The end. Thanks.
What page are we on? Sorry.
202.
202.
I think we should try and get one from each.
Why?
I don't know.
For diversity's sake. What is this?
So we can
2023? No, I'm just
test
kidding.
out the different aspects of
No, I was just giving you a
the
hard time.
game.
I'm sorry,
Wesley.
dude. It was a meme. Look, there's a camera.
There's
This is actually
not.
being recorded audibly. Did you know? Sorry, fun fact for the day. If you're listening to music and you can kind of guess what the next lyrics or the next rhythm is going to be before you hear it, and you've never heard the song before, that's called Audacity. And that's why the music site is called not the music site, the music app is called Audacity. Isn't that nuts?
Oh, cool.
It's cool. My roommate taught me that. So if it's wrong, blame my roommate.
The audacity.
I'm going to be people of the continent. They're often slimmer and slenderer than the native Tri-Kazelians. Yeah.
This should be a part of your sheet. So mark this down, right?
Yes.
Pog.
Where? Never mind, I found it.
Yep.
Immediately.
Let me know when you all have picked one and have made a note of it. Preferably B flat.
Oh, man. Let's see. Tri-Kazelians. And then it tells me I should choose a like sub area.
Oh, do you guys want the map?
I think
I
found
love
it.
maps.
There's a map. I was looking for...
Page 22.
Yeah, 22, 23. I was looking for... Because they have a lot of cutouts of maps. I was looking for a big one. Like a free one, but I couldn't find it. But, what are you on 202? If you guys want the book map, I'll pass it to you guys so you can see it. Womp womp. It may help in your decision making. It's also really nice. Shout out to the artists who drew stuff.
Yeah. This is really pretty.
Yeah,
I
my
don't
book's
wanna
really
be
cool.
People of the continent. I know it's like, let's be different. But
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. You
I
can all be
just
people of the
don't
continent. You
think
can all
the
be different.
Osag people are my vibe.
Sounds like Isla, bro. Isla would be Osag. Osag? Osag.
Yeah.
You would.
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm a nomad dude, so I don't
I was going to say
really
something
need
else.
the
I
map.
completely forgot what it was. Lamau. Oh, yeah. I was going to say my book's special, too, because I got it from Gen Con. So I got extra art on one of the pages. It was really cool.
Yo,
Oh, cool.
nice.
I will be Osag. Why not?
Oh, so we are all different ethnicities.
I'm Tricazillion.
It's not like, because I was thinking like, because I have low combativeness, but then it was like, you're also not necessarily going to be a good fighter. If you're a good, you have high combativeness, you know? So I thought about that and I was like, it doesn't matter. I just be a big old, basically.
Yeah, it's like more of a personality thing, right? So you can be someone who doesn't necessarily like to fight, but can still handle his own in a fight, you know?
I am strong, but don't want to fight.
But don't want. Is that everyone? Do we all have
I
our...
think so.
Yes.
Yes.
Pog. Step 2, profession, birthplace, and social class. I'm just going to read this. After the character's native people has been chosen, he must be attributed to a profession. It can be the main activity of the domain in which he has been essentially trained during his youth. Whatever his profession may be, the PC starts with the social class of an apprentice, or novice. Blah blah blah. We decide with the player's agreement whether the PC has already obtained statuses or if they are still an apprentice, right? So basically whether or not you're still training in that thing or you have like some renown in it. A squire dreaming of becoming a knight, a young Enothen destined to become a Demorthen. I can't say these words, man. Magic science, whatever. There's like a bunch of different professions. We'll get to the list. Choosing a profession directly gives a level of 5 in a skill domain and 3 in another. So what's called a primary and a secondary domain. The player will tick the corresponding number of boxes for each corresponding domain and on the character sheet. Throughout the creation process, the levels in some domains can increase beyond 5, making it possible to learn disciplines, but these will have to be allotted to the primary and secondary domains defined by the chosen professions. Does that make sense? The only domains that can go beyond 5 in character creation are the ones you're about to get from this job. Cool. Right? You will get a primary and secondary domain. There's quite an exhaustive list. Well, I guess maybe I won't say exhaustive, but you have quite a few options, right? If you want to look, it starts on page 203, right? It has a little description of that profession, and then it has the primary and secondary domain attributed with it.
Cool.
While you guys look at those, I will try to find something that defines domains better. And if you want, like, if none of these professions are really clicking with you, we can talk about like kind of homebrewing one or making a cross between the two. Are you gonna say Ratcatcher?
Yeah, I want to do a Ratcatcher.
Okay.
Yeah, because like the only thing that I can find on this list that is even close to that would be like a peasant, because I mean he's not any highbrow guy. But I don't think that like natural environment necessarily, because the peasant profession is all about cultivating the land or raising animals, and I don't know if that's accurate. You know?
You could be a hunter. You hunt rats.
Yeah, I guess.
You could just be a really bad hunter. Or if you want, we can talk about like...
Yeah, because I saw in here, it says there's an optional rule for new professions.
Yeah. I was going to say, if you want, we can just make Ratcatcher its own profession and talk about the primary and secondary domains you feel like would be associated with it.
Yeah, if that's all right.
Yeah, I'm trying to find like the list of domains, TM.
I'm going to be a craftsman.
Yeah, your primary domain, right? It's just an automatic up to like 5 points in it. And then secondary, it's automatic 3, right?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Okay.
You see are you looking at that page for the Morthen Mysteries? The domain.
No. Where what page is that?
It's 196. It's on.
Okay.
I can talk about this more off too, but the magic system is based around one discipline in particular called Signal Run.
Okay.
So as you go about, you might wonder like if you can get points in that, you might want to get points in that. But that's what you'll use when you use like the magic stones, TM.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so do we pick the disciplines and then write them under the domain? Is that how this works?
Yeah, as you get points, because right now you just have 5 in the domain, Once your domain exceeds 5, you pick a discipline.
That's when you
And
start
that
getting
will-
disciplines.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
So if you do anything in that domain, you will get that automatic 5. And if you do something you have ranks in that discipline, you get an extra bonus for it being in your like focused area.
Cool. Okay.
Is there anyone who wanted to have the character have not been in the military for whatever reason?
Me.
Right. Okay, that will become relevant in a second.
Okay.
So I'm looking on here, and it looks like you've really got to be fucking trained to use these things. I don't think you like happen upon it, because like I'd have to have 5 in the Demorthan Mysteries
Which you would.
and
One.
a discipline.
Yeah, you would have to have 1 point at least in Signal Realm.
I'm just trying to think of like narratively how the fuck that would have happened, and I don't think there's a way.
You don't think so?
No, because I mean, the way the story that
You could
I
always...
have for this guy is like peasant, lived with his dad, never worked on tried to never work on the farm, and then did military service, and then got out and said, I'm a man now, fuck you, dad. And then went to a city, and then the only job he could find was rat catcher.
And feel free to tell me to eat a dick, because this is your character. Would you entertain the idea that your dad was a failed Demorthan, but still taught you all the magic he knew, but he didn't have the aptitude for it, but you did?
There we go.
Okay.
Hell yeah. See,
And that's why he was a farmer.
this is why you're the GM.
Hey, glad I could help.
So then I guess for my profession would be Demorthan Mystic, or no, I'd still just put rat catcher. I would just fuck around.
You can just
with
flavor it, yeah. You'll have like some secondary. Did you already pick it? You picked a secondary domain, right?
No, I was actually going to talk to you about that. What do you think works most for like rat catching? Is it like stealth, shooting, throwing, craft, like having to make
Because
traps?
the question
or
is, how do you catch rats, right? Are you sneaking up on them
crafty?
and grabbing them? Are you are you setting traps? Like, what's the vibe?
Ooh.
I think I might have just been like sneaking up on them and then just being like,
So
boo,
stealth?
and then
Maybe do a sneaky one.
Yeah, that'd probably be stealth.
That'd be spooky as hell. Can you imagine being the rat?
I want to be a traps craftsman now. It's real specific.
Oh, craftsman.
oh, but dude, that's how we could kind of know each other.
Oh, true.
Is you buy traps from
Yeah.
her?
Yeah, you're like, hey,
Okay.
man, try out this new trap. I don't know why I'm talking like that. I'm 32 and confident.
So for profession, I'm just gonna write like mystic rat catcher because of the weirdness.
Too old
Okay.
for this.
I don't know what to be.
Follow your heart.
My
I would go
heart
with
tells me,
Varigal,
like
'cause
10 million kinds.
I really like Varigals.
Yeah, I
Aren't they
think
so
they're
cool? They
cool,
seem so cool in this
yeah.
game. If I was gonna
I
make
don't
a
understand.
character,
What are Vargals?
They're like the postmen. They like deliver packages from one city
You
to
do
the
like
next.
Death Stranding.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's basically Death
essentially.
Stranding, but like,
they also have like this secret language kind of, and they leave messages for each other on the trails that only other Vargals can read.
So cool.
They're so
yeah,
cool.
I
yeah,
think you
and
should.
okay, cool.
Oh, it'd either be a Varigal or a man of the cloth.
I was looking at occultist, but I think I like Varigal.
Be running around.
Varigal. Yeah, I mean, the Tarish are nomadic people anyway, so I feel like it kind of lends itself to a traveling type job.
So does everyone have their jobs picked and their points allocated?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and the people who had bonuses to domains, do we still have those noted on the side?
Oh,
Yep, they're
Yeah.
noted.
Okay,
Have
cool.
I done anything with them? No. Should I have? I don't.
You can wait. We'll get to a point where you can get other bonus points to your domains,
okay.
and after that, then you may want to pick where to allocate them.
All right.
Probably just do it last, right? Because you don't want it to. You don't want to pick an advantage that would give you the same thing, or maybe you do, right? But it's good to see what you have innately, and then just put you where you want it. Birthplace. It really it's not super relevant. It's really whether or not you were born in a rural area or an urban area. But for you in particular, okay, so everyone else, you've all served in the military at some point. You all get +1 in the domain of close combat. If you already have 5 in close combat, you can now pick a discipline. Wait, yeah. If you already have 5 in infantry profession, you can pick a discipline. You, Misty, you didn't serve.
Nope.
So, that player can put the bonus level normally attributed to close combat in another domain. That's it. You get to pick another one that isn't close combat.
Oh, cool.
I think
I have a quick question. What is feats?
you got 2 of them, don't you? Sorry.
Oh.
Why you asking me those? Let me find the page.
Feats. It's a combativeness way domain thing. This domain makes it possible to go beyond one's physical limits to perform exceptional physical actions. Character with a rating of 2 in feats is considered to be able to swim after a fashion.
So you can swim, I guess.
I don't know what that
Yeah,
means.
So I can do like triathlons.
If you're dressed well.
Then you can swim. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like that's not what it is. I just gotta go out on a limb and say I think it's like after a fight, you could still go swim.
Yeah, a fashion fight.
No, out after a fashion?
Yeah.
Like
There has to be a phrase.
Like they
people
have a
do.
way to do it.
After a fashion means to a certain extent, but imperfectly or unsatisfactorily. I don't know if that.
Okay, so if I'm picking up what
Swim,
they're
but not well.
if I'm picking up what they're shitting, the average person can't swim, right? You can.
So I can like doggy paddle.
You can, like,
if
yeah,
if I were to put
You can
stuff
flail in
into
the
this.
water, kind of float type beat, like probably doggy paddle, but you ain't Michael Phelps. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
But,
Yeah,
Sure.
and
You could get it done, but you're gonna struggle.
yeah, the fish are gonna be like, "Who the fuck is that?"
But that's only with 2 points in it. So
That's
if you get
cool.
up to like 5, you're probably
a decent
You're
swimmer.
probably
Then you could probably do
close
it
to Michael
before a
Phelps.
fashion.
There is at some point too, I forget the exact page, but as you like upgrade disciplines, if you like if you pick one thing, if you're like, all I'm gonna do is feats because that's my shtick. At some point, you will gain renown, right? Like people will be like, "That's the feet guy."
I've seen all pictures of his feet.
gross.
But yeah, so like for a better example, right? If you get into swords fighting, like people will have heard of your sword skills, right? You go in the city and like people might not recognize your face, but after like if someone sees you fight, or they might even recognize a sword on your back, they'll be like, "You're the guy, bro. You're the guy that swings a sword," and you'll be like, "Yeah." This is gonna be good and bad, right? Some people will be like, "Wow, you're so cool. Have a discount." Other people will be like, "Wow, I'll be so cool if I kill this guy." So, for better or for worse, people will eventually know who you are if you get really good at something.
Cool.
sweet.
And there's like, I think the last 2 levels in a domain or in a discipline is suggested to like lock them behind a mentor, right? I think 14 and 15, like someone who is that good has to have trained you up there, right? You can't. It's usually, for most purposes, it is outside the normal realm of attainability. I don't know if we'll even go long enough to do that, but if we do, we'll figure it out, I guess.
Cool.
Damien, what page did you find that definition on?
I found it on a page.
That's how you quote it.
Oh yeah.
197.
Thank you. And then
After a fashion, I'm gonna start using that phrase. I'm not even gonna know what I'm talking about. I can paint after a fashion. What does that mean, Kobe Ryan? Wait, I'm trolling. You're still picking
yeah, but
the 1 extra point for not having been in the military? Yes?
yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
No, it's all good. There's just some of these that I'm not really familiar
These?
with. Like
Oh, there you go.
some of them are pretty self-explanatory,
like feet.
like shooting and throw.
What does that do? I'm just kidding. You don't gotta.
You know, shooting and throwing, probably.
Again. Yuck.
And then it's saying someone who spent their childhood in a rural environment adds 1 to natural environment.
Domain.
And then someone who is urban environment adds 1 to relation.
Where'd you find this?
It's on the page we're on 206.
Yeah.
So everybody served, right? So you get the 1 in close combat. And then if you decide to have grown up in a rural area, +1 to what he said. Natural environment. If you were more in an urban city, yeah, +1 to relation.
So, with my character being an orphan,
Damn.
yeah, he spent more time around animals. So I want to give him the point natural environment, even though he grew up like in the city. Is that okay?
That's fine. Yeah, I think that's cool.
Cool.
The rule of cool will probably always win here.
Thank you.
Probably.
Oh no. All right. I am ready.
Hello, ready?
Dad? Is that you?
Missy, do you still need a second? It's okay if you do.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have asked.
No, you're good. It's just I had a lot of choices.
It's like
because like I have those +1s,
Mm-hmm.
and then also the lack of military service, and then also doing like the primary and secondary thing.
Mm-hmm.
There was a choice on the secondary one, so it's just like there's a lot of choices.
Yeah. It's like being at Baskin Robbins. Today's sponsor?
No.
We
I'm sorry.
we are boycotting Baskin
I'm
Robbins.
so
Are they
mad.
bad? Like, do we hate them?
No, but
no, but the one by our house
man.
is poop.
so we walk over there with the dog, right? And I'm like, I'll stand outside. I would like vanilla with raspberry, but I know it's kind of out of season. So if they don't have that, then Heath bars, like in my vanilla. If they don't have that, then Reese's, because that's like the progression, right? Heath bars or Reese's. I was like, I'll be happy with any of those. She comes back out like 5 minutes later. She's like, hey, I need your wallet and you're not going to be happy. I was like, what? And so she goes back in. She brings me out like a hot fudge sundae looking thing. And she's like, they didn't have any of those things.
What?
This
Tell
is
me
an
how they
ice
don't
cream
have
place that did not have fresh fruit. It did not have Heath bars. It did not have Reese's. Like,
Why open?
yeah, right? Like, if you're like an ice cream place, you need the toppings. No,
No.
they didn't.
Peanut butter chocolate flavor.
It was awful.
Especially if you're known for having all those options.
Wait, Wesley,
like-
I'm sorry. Is
Exactly.
it 1 or 2 for not having military service?
You get 1 point
1.
in a domain.
Okay,
You know
thanks.
what? I'm pissed about. I went to the Royal Farms, and I just wanted, all I fucking wanted was the normal kind of the big cup Reese's.
Yeah.
I don't want other shit in it. I just want normal
A giant
big ass
Reese's cup.
Reese's. Ugh.
Yeah, and like a normal gas station would have that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I looked on the aisle that has the candy. They had potato chip. They had Reese's Pieces. They had pretzel. I was like, ugh. It's none of these. None of these are what I want. No
Yeah.
plain ones. So I got to the register. I was checking out. I just got normal Reese's. And then I saw in the basket nearby, I was like, oh, this is Big Cup Reese's, but it doesn't have like the thing. It's full of fucking Reese's Puffs. Why? I just wanted a normal Big Cup Reese's.
But it had Reese's Puffs in it?
That's so weird. That's
I have
weird.
not
Yeah.
seen that one.
They had 4 separate kinds.
I've seen the ones with Reese's
the
Pieces
big
in them,
cup.
but that
I mean,
is
the potato
bizarre.
chip ones I've heard is pretty good, but
Okay.
it's not what I wanted. I was so pissed. And like the guy behind me was like, you got the munchies? I was like, yeah, I just want a normal Reese's. They don't have it. They have every other kind.
Yeah.
They had Reese's Thins. They had white chocolate Reese's. They had a bunch of,
I don't think
Normal.
I've had the thins. Are those good?
yeah.
Well,
we have
really
some in our
quick.
freezer if you want one.
Oh,
Really quick, I forgot to say this. I should have said this sooner. Hopefully, it's not super relevant. Ahem. At creation, the number of disciplines, not domains, is limited to 2, and their level is limited to 6. Does that make sense?
Okay.
If you go beyond 5 and you get 1 discipline, it can't exceed 6. You can get a second discipline, neither can exceed 6. Right, so that would be 1 point in that discipline.
Okay.
Oh, because
Right?
that's a total of 6.
Yeah, I
Okay.
believe so.
That makes sense because you
Yeah.
don't want to
Yeah, you
like
don't wanna
start
go
the game with like
Real hard into one
Yeah.
thing. And then you're like,
Um,
ah.
And the things you can get discipline in, again, are restricted to your primary and secondary domains. Does that make sense?
Cool.
Wait, you can only
get a discipline in your primary or secondary domain. So when you picked your job, you got a primary and a secondary. If you get a discipline, it has to be in one of those.
Okay.
Just at character start.
Just like character creation, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, it's been 6,000 years, but I'm done and we can move on. Thanks.
There's another note I want to read.
Just kidding, we can't.
If a player character manages to go beyond level 5 in a domain that is neither primary or secondary, he can add the points in excess to another domain chosen by the player, which cannot exceed 5.
Okay.
Right? So if you have a third domain, you get it to 6, you don't get a discipline, you just get another point in some other domain. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Pog. Social class. Blah, 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 blah. Keep it in mind, being rich isn't super common. Being poor is. Whatever. You can do whatever you want, as long as it's neat, I guess. So you have 3 social classes, right? Yeah, the commoners, that guy. Most of the population are commoners. For peasants and rural people, as well as most Demorthan, although they do not belong to any social class, you'll get +1 level in 2 domains. And so for each of these, you get like levels and domains, and then you get, but like that is a restricted list, right? So I'm going to read them all. If you're a commoner, you get +1 level in 2 domains among feats, natural environments, perception, and travel. For craftsmen and workers, you get +1 in 2 domains amongst craft, erudition, relation, and science. And if you're from the middle class, you obtain +1 in 2 domains amongst craft, erudition, performance, and relation. If you're a member of the clergy, which is, if you're a member of the temple, I don't think any of you are.
No.
Okay, so I'll skip it then. And then there's nobility, right? Nobles can be townsmen or countrymen. They obtain +1 in 2 domains amongst close combat, erudition, relation, and science. If you're looking at the PDF, we're on page 206 still. Yeah, 206.
Awesome.
So if I do +1 to something that I already have 5 in, that's one of my
You pick a discipline.
sick. Okay. I do that.
Whoa, you're that crafter person. I'm going to kill you, then I'll be the better crafter.
Yeah, I've been thinking off and on about like what the fuck is a craftsman gonna have as far as like an enemy?
Your shop might have put somebody else's shop out of business.
That's not my fault that they suck.
Tell them that.
Yeah, that's probably what I told them.
They come to kill you and their sword breaks when they swing it.
That'd be so funny.
Or they get caught in one of my traps. So making traps is not a discipline. I don't know if that matters.
Like traps in particular? Is there a discipline that kind of sounds like making a trap would fall into that?
I don't know, maybe like I don't know how to say that word.
Dude,
I want to say magiantist.
A magiantist? I don't think so. That's more like magiantist. I think
machinery and magiantist tool.
What do you? I mean,
Mining, painting, pottery, sculpting, smithing, woodworking.
Maybe woodworking. What are your traps like? Envision your trap. What is it? Is it like the old school, like you got a stick in a box, and then when they go to pick up the candy, you pull the stick, and now they're in the box? Or is it like a pitfall trap where you're
There's also locksmithing. It's different though. I'd argue that locksmithing might be the
what traps do you make?
I don't know.
Boxes, or are they like?
I think they're a little bit more complicated than boxes.
Are you thinking like bear traps or like
Well, they make rat traps for sure.
Yeah.
But like in bear trap fashion, like
But they're like made out of metal.
Is it like they step into it and then it triggers? Like, does it have a triggering mechanism?
Yeah, that's.
Is it made of metal?
Probably.
I would go with metalworking.
Yeah.
If there's something like metalworking, I would go with
No.
that. What do you mean?
I guess smithing.
Oh yeah, maybe that.
All right. Smithing. Oh, that's the wrong place. Smithing.
Do we all have our social class?
Yes.
Common as dirt.
Common is dirt. Dirt is common. Cool. Now I can skip all the stuff we already did because we already did it.
Wow.
Wow. All right, this part's kind of fun, I think. So we're gonna do it now. We would do it even if I didn't think it was fun. We're getting into experience points, advantages, and disadvantages. Now, each player has 100 experience points at his disposal, which allows him to improve some skills and or buy advantages. They represent what he's lived through up until now, interdependently from the aspect mentioned beforehand, or his innate characteristics. The PC can increase this amount of points by taking disadvantages, right? So you take an L, you get more experience to spend. This is not mandatory. The amount of points that can be accumulated through this means is limited to 80, right? So you can, at max right now, spend 180 experience points, right? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So we can spend 80.
You have 100
Oh.
that you can spend. There are disadvantages you can take to get extra experience to spend,
Okay.
but the bonus you get cannot exceed 80 for a total of 180 to spend.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
Cool.
Unused points after character creation are written down on the character sheet. You can spend them later, like cool. After sessions or whatever. Experience points can be used to improve a domain or discipline. You can use 10 experience points for every additional level in a domain, 25 experience points for every additional level, and then in a discipline, reminder, you can't get more than 2 disciplines with a total level of 6. Let me look, dude. I'm so confused about the domain discipline thing. And then there's a list of advantages on page 212. So while I look at the domain discipline thing, you can look through the advantages.
Awesome.
And all the advantages also have a price and experience. Some of them you can like spend more to get like that advantage plus, right? Like a better version of it. So have fun or whatever.
I'm about to be the poorest motherfucker around here.
Okay. Disciplines do start at 6. So it's
Okay.
It's total. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, character creation, 2 disciplines, they can't exceed 6. Do remember to look also at the disadvantages, because that can give you more XP to spend. I like this, but it is pretty involved, which I enjoy, but it just feels so weird coming from like some of the other games, which are just like, wah, 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 you have your dude. And now it's like, yeah, but are you poor? Or are you middle class? And you're like, fuck, man, I guess I'm poor. I would love to do a long, I know we just started, so maybe I'll change my mind at the end. I doubt I will. But I feel like I would love to do a long campaign of this because it seems really cool.
Oh, yeah.
And then no rush, but whenever you're all ready, just let me know and then we'll press on to whatever's next. But please take your time because this is neat.
Yeah.
And then we can go around and talk about our advantages and disadvantages if we want to, or we cannot, and we can just make them private, whatever people want to do.
The disciplines, we can only have one in each
No.
at the beginning. I could
Yes.
have both of my disciplines
Are you talking about like in domains?
in domains. Could I have them both in the same place, or do they have to be?
Both in the same domain, you mean?
Yeah.
2 disciplines branching from the same domain.
Yes.
Yes. But you
Okay.
cannot exceed 2 total disciplines.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
What if I was a rat catcher with a phobia of rats?
Oh my god, that'd be
And that's why you
hilarious.
catch them. Because even scarier than catching them is the thought of them terrorizing other people.
Ooh.
There we go.
Yeah.
That sounds like an awful existence. I'm going to keep it a book. I can barely kill spiders. You want me to catch rats when I'm terrified of them? Go on.
So with my rat catcher,
Mhm.
okay, I'm deciding whether I want to be born under a lucky star or have a sixth sense.
Ooh.
Okay.
So this is either I'm going to double up on lucky, giving me a +2 bonus to my luck rolls, or get a +2 bonus to the Demorthan mysteries, relation, and travel domains.
To all of them?
That's what it says, yeah.
That's wild. If I could do both. I'm just kidding. I don't know if you can afford that. Yeah,
I
well,
guess if I get an enemy, I could. But then
That's
I still want to have the discipline.
you don't have to do both. I was just meaning. Follow your heart, Padawan.
Because you can get advantages later, right?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't see why not. Unless it says you can't. Let me read this. Oh, no, though.
Yeah.
'Cause I feel like for ones that are like born under a lucky star, it doesn't make sense to suddenly get that later, you know? Or like
Yeah,
some of
that's
them are
fair.
like like this one, right? Beautiful, right? It doesn't make sense to suddenly be beautiful.
No. Maybe they have plastic surgery,
Maybe.
but like with magic.
Oh, these are +1 bonuses. They're not like. Am I filling in bubbles?
If it says bonus, no.
No. Okay, gotcha. Making sure.
Oh, yeah.
These are not the skill levels.
Bonuses
Okay.
are not, yeah.
Cool.
I think I am going to get an enemy.
It's going to be a rat.
I was actually thinking it was going to be one of the like true Demorthan mystics
Oh, that makes
who
more
may
sense.
have like caught wind of, some magic fuckery going on.
Oh, some muckery.
Yeah.
Is it lame if I say advantages and disadvantages are final now? Like, this is the only instance in which you can get them? Because I don't think it makes sense to get them later.
Yeah, I agree on that. I don't think it
Okay.
does.
Sure.
That is my divine judgment.
Ah, shoot. I really gotta. What is luck and what is that used for?
Sometimes you get lucky, man.
Okay.
let me find. There's a page that actually talks about it. Let me find it.
Oh, okay. If you want to add things to a scene, basically, you can like roll the luck roll to see.
Yeah, or if you're doing something weird like making an antidote or like, I don't know, something that seems like it might need a little bit of luck.
Getting a +2 in that could be kind of fun.
It could be fun. Lucky.
Poor but lucky, I think, is the way to go.
It's like me when I was a kid.
Oh shoot, where'd it go?
Rip.
There it is. Okay, that's 60 points, but I think it's worth it.
And then after you do your advantages and disadvantages, I think after that you will no longer have anything that's going to affect your points in domains or disciplines. So you two, if you're still holding on to your bonus points, you can allocate them. I would recommend you allocate them after this.
Okay. Are they like points?
In domains? Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But are they like the advantages and disadvantages, where it's a bonus or a penalty? That kind
No,
of
it
thing?
is like
or
a,
is it like
it's like a point.
the bubbles?
A point, yeah, if you want a bubble.
Okay. All right.
Same rules apply. If you want a discipline, it has to be one of your two, and they can't exceed 6. And they also, your bonuses for that have to be in different domains, right? So you can't, like, you have 3, right? You can't put all 3 in the same domain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put 1 in each of my
Domains.
primary and secondary.
Didn't you have 3 though? Because you're old.
Yeah, but I still haven't figured out the last one.
Oh, okay. No offense to any 32-year-olds out there listening. I think 32 is relatively young. Just no 47, you know what I'm saying? No offense to any 47-year-olds.
I think 47 is still pretty young.
Yeah, it's no, okay, we're done. I'm not going to keep doing this forever.
Kind of just want another enemy. Not like just because.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 30 points. I could have an enemy. I could be shy, and then have a phobia, man.
Of rats.
Moths.
Worse.
Moths? Okay.
Yeah.
Are you rolling for your fate?
Phobia of moths.
No, I took the poor trait, and so I get a fourth as much money as
Oh,
a
shit.
normal person.
Dude, me too.
Oh, hey.
It's like all your money cut in fourths. I only keep one corner of it.
Nice. 12's an easy one to cut into fourths. 3. I start with 3 money.
Where are you finding the money?
It's a few steps ahead. I think step 10.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. I
Yeah.
was reading the sentence.
I was
Says,
just-
see step 10. I don't know why anyone would take the addiction one. That just sounds like you're playing on hard mode.
Some people live for that stuff. It's like when you're playing Dark Souls and you start off as wretched,
Oh, yeah.
when you could have started off as like a whole knight or something. Are you guys marking your advantages and disadvantages?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Yeah, I wrote them down.
Because I was like, it would be sick to have these for reference for me later.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh god, oh fuck, if they're not writing these down.
I am nimble, smart, and I have a survival instinct. But I'm also poor.
You have all the benefits because you've been dealing with being poor.
Yeah, and I figure like I'm a kid. I'm barely 16. Like I don't got money.
That's fair. Military doesn't pay you shit.
Yeah.
I'm still laughing at the fuck you, dad. I don't want to be a farmer. I'm gonna go catch rats. Okay, you do you, man. I may catch rats, but I am free. I'm low-key glad. Nay, I'm high-key glad. We're not doing episode 1 today. This is kind of a lot.
It is. Crunching a lot of numbers right now.
And for me to suddenly add in everyone's new enemies would be nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have to.
I know, we don't.
Them, like
So you're being
A group-
chased across the bridge by all your enemies.
a group of people comes up to us. Well. It's like,
Wait.
look who rolled into town. It's like, I live here.
If there's enough enemies, I'll just make an enemy party.
Yeah.
And their bond will be their hatred of you guys.
There you go.
Nice.
The
Okay,
league
here we
against
go.
those 4.
Dude, that's actually one of my favorite shticks in campaigns is to have another adventuring group. Whether they're like friendly adversary or like more like, kind of gray, their relationship with the main party. I just like to occasionally bump into the same adventuring group and be like, oh, my man.
Yeah.
Or be like, get his ass. And then you fight for nothing because they
Oh,
just
yeah.
hate you or whatever.
Well, and like Pathfinder, there's 2 different adventure paths that follow kind of like the same storyline. It's just that one of them you're trying to rebel against, tyranny, and the other one
You are tyranny.
you are tyranny, trying to fight back
Quash
against the rebellion.
That's
So
cool.
I do 60 out of 180.
It's my birthday tomorrow.
Happy birthday tomorrow.
Thank you.
It's not his birthday tomorrow.
He's lying to
Nah, man. Would I lie? Look
you.
at
So beautiful and charismatic are pretty much the same thing.
this. Are they?
You get a +1 bonus when using performance and relation domains. But one of them is like, you look good, and the other one's like, no one even cares how you look because you're so cool.
Oh, true.
But what
And
if you're
you could get
beautiful
them both.
and
Yeah.
charismatic? That's what I was gonna do, and then I looked at it, I was like, wait, this is the same thing.
Maybe you just get dummy bonus. You get +4
Yeah,
bonus
double
to
them
those
up.
things. No one can say no to you.
I want to do that now. Can I do that? Am I allowed?
Pop off. I don't know why you couldn't.
I might not be the brightest bulb in the box, but I sure do look pretty and talk good.
Sometimes that's the most important thing. That's how I get by in life.
I'm trying to figure out my character, but I can't.
Oh, we
My
all.
character doesn't make sense.
That's like a metaphor for life, though, Like, do we make sense? I don't think so.
Okay. Sorry. I am done. I was skipping ahead on accident because the portrait took me down a rabbit hole. I was like, how much gold do I have? Or
How much money? The money's so
treasure?
neat. I want
Yeah.
to buy, I wonder if anyone anywhere has, money. Like Shadows of Esteren money. Dowels, I think they're called.
Yeah.
They come in
I don't
different
know.
colors, and I feel like if they were real, I would want to eat them because they come in different colors.
Is that your standard for things being edible? Is like, they're different colors.
It's like, if it's not different flavors, why are you bothering to make them different colors, right?
Like M&M's? Oh, yeah. You hate chocolate.
I do.
Yeah.
But Reese's Pieces, yeah. Granted, they're all the same flavor, but they're different colors.
Yeah.
Or like Starburst, right? They come in plenty of colors. Money, it's just green or coin.
And lots of flavors.
It's like soaps from Bed Bath & Beyond. I don't eat them, but can you blame a guy if I did?
No.
They look like different
amazing.
flavors. Yeah, and
And-
those are even worse because they smell amazing.
No.
Hoo-wah! What happened?
I accidentally touched the scroll bar, and it
Oh.
brought me to some wild page.
That's the worst.
That, yeah. That's
Brought me to step 10. That's not what I want.
I'm going to read this thing because I think it's relevant. It's about the domains and disciplines
Okay.
and the relative understanding thereof. So if you have 0 in a domain, you have no knowledge of the. You have a 1 to 2, you consider it a novice. You have a smattering of knowledge on the subject. 3 to 5, you have a respectable knowledge, but not very accurate. And then when you get into the disciplines, 6 to 9, you're considered to be a professional. 10 to 12, you're an expert. 13 to 14, you're a master. And at 15, you're a legend. And it says, from level 10 in a discipline, the character becomes an expert. If he has managed to make himself known regarding the discipline, he can be offered work or responsibilities. As a game master sees fit. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. The character is generally famed for his trade, which can earn him various favors or jealousy. If he keeps improving, the character will become a master. Then finally, he will be considered a legend when he becomes 15. Yeah, so 10 and beyond, people are going to be like, hey, I know who made that sword. It's the legendary sword maker, Joe.
I spent absolutely all of the experience points.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I would too.
I mean, this is the only time I was like, I'm going to be...
All the things.
I'm scared of moss. I've got yet another enemy, and I am shy.
So you have an enemy and an adversary, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're functionally the same thing,
but they have to have distinct grudges against me.
Does anybody else have an enemy? Did somebody else say they were doing it? You?
Yep.
3 is enough. We have the anti-team.
They'll just be us, but like with dark clothes on.
Yeah.
With different colored hair.
Yeah, the opposite of you guys.
Yeah, like the Powerpuff Girls versus the
Rowdy Rough Boys. Yo,
yeah.
I love those guys when I was a kid. I was like, I want to be just like them. Probably not the best goal, but it was a goal I had. I just think I turned out pretty okay.
The sisters on Ed, and Eddie.
Sorry, I do that in the when you're watching it. Sorry.
I forgot about that. So I was like, why are you doing that?
It was like every episode after the opening, they would make that dumb sound. But yeah. It's like the delightful children from across the lane instead of the kids next door.
Oh, yeah.
Those guys were creeps.
Yeah, they were.
And then you find out their backstory and you feel kind of bad for them.
I mean, I've spent all of my money.
What you got?
I got
rat catching tools.
Are we supposed to move on to money now?
So I guess it doesn't hurt.
Oh my god, Damien.
Sorry.
You didn't tell me. Now we fell behind.
Well, he's just ahead.
Yeah, I have. Are you ready for this?
Did you already do everything else in between?
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, I know. I have a problem.
Oh my god, yeah, you skipped step 9.
Oh,
he did it.
Step 9.
He's done everything. His character's done. He hates all of us.
Oh my god,
Okay.
what about step 8 though? Did you do that? Did you do step 7?
Yep.
Gosh darn it.
Oh gee darn it.
I need guidance, so I'm not gonna do it.
We can start if you want. If that's okay with you, Misty. We can also wait. I don't really care either way.
No, go for it. I'm actually finishing up, so
Okay.
you're good.
I can wait. I can count down from 27.
No, it's okay.
26?
I'm just trying to figure
20.
out.
I think that'll be more distracting than just moving on.
No, that can't be right.
Especially since she's doing math.
You're right. Fighting potential or whatever. It is the rating that will be used during fighting phases. It represents an investment ability of character. Did I say that right? Yeah. The investment ability of a character in a given fighting aptitude. The creativity rating of a PC gives the value of his potential. What does this mean, Kobe Bryant? At 1, the character has 1 potential point. From 2 to 4, the character has 2 potential points. And from 3, the character has 3 potential points.
Oh, I have 3 potential points. Oh no, that would come in handy.
You mark that. Did you know where it is on your character sheet to mark it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's under the potential. It's by weapons.
Yeah, fighting potential comes into play like later in step 8.
Okay. For a lot of these next ones, I'm just, if you want the blurb, let me know, but I'm probably just going to give you the calculation.
Okay, yeah.
Defense. To know the initial defense rating of a character, make the following addition. Way of reason plus way of empathy plus 5.
Dude.
Reason.
Mine's really good.
Plus empathy.
What's yours?
Plus 5.
Okay.
Reason and empathy
+5.
+5. And
Just making
1
sure no one
is 15.
Hot damn.
I got 10.
Yeah, mine's 17. So.
Warm damn. More like room temperature.
What's yours at?
12.
Nice.
Yours is warm damn.
What are you saying? Warm damn?
Yeah. Not hot damn.
Jesus Christ. I don't know why it took me so long to get that. Speed. Today's sponsor is calculated by using the way of combativeness plus the way of empathy. That's it. No +5. And for stamina, you have 10. Unless you're one of those people that took an L, in which case you might have less than 10.
What about survival?
Oh, fuck, you're right. Thank you. That's why you're Pog. Wait. No, I was right.
Yeah, it's not on this page.
Yeah.
You
Sorry.
You baited
Well,
me.
it's further down.
It was just like right underneath stamina. So I was like,
No, it wasn't. What are you talking about?
on the character sheet.
Oh.
Yeah, it's step 9.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll do attack rating and stuff first.
Each character has 5 different base fighting aptitudes: standard, offensive, defensive, quick attack, and movement. These aptitudes sum up the stances the character can take in a fight. A fight is divided into a combat round, each one lasting a few seconds. So, I'll just read this blurb really quick about a fighting stance, or a fighting aptitude, which is basically a fighting stance. They significantly modify the attack, defense, and speed ratings. So as to make the phase of a fight go smoother, the effects of each attitude should be previously calculated and noted on the character sheet on the top part of the second page.
Oh.
To do so, the player needs the potential rating as well as her attack, defense, and speed ratings. Also note that for each attack, the full potential rating must be applied. It is not possible for a player to moderate such changes no matter what his or her potential is. That being
So
said,
it's just a bunch of math.
it's just a bunch of math.
All right.
Yeah, the idea is that like your standard fighting attitude, you get no bonuses across the board. But if you're trying to go offensive, you get your potential as a bonus to attack, but as a penalty to defense.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And then defensive, it's the reverse of that. Quick, you add your potential to your speed, but reduce your defense by that much. And then movement increases your defense by your potential and has some other stipulations with it. Like you can't make an attack, but you also get increased speed, or you can travel further. Stuff like that.
Your attack rating is calculated with the following addition. It's your way of combativeness plus your domain or discipline you will use for the fight. Which, like, you might have to switch that if you like buy a weapon you want to use, or if you like pick another discipline later. But combativeness plus domain or discipline plus any additional bonuses you have all equals your attack rating.
And is the attack rating the same down the line? Right?
What do
No?
you mean?
Well, like if you're in the offensive stance, you increase your attack rating.
Oh, yeah, by
Oh.
your
All right. So
potential.
I'm just doing my standard ones right now.
Yeah, what I did is I just wrote down like the bonus or penalty for each of the stances. Because I figure like it,
You'll always know what your potential is.
Yeah.
Can you help me?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm just dumb.
Miss, I didn't see you get up. I saw you return, and I was like, that was so wild. She just spawned. But all the stances are basically going to give a bonus. That bonus will be your potential. It's a one thing and subtract it from something else.
Okay, and that's what we'll be rolling against, I guess.
I mean, like, what do you mean? The potential, you mean? It's just going to improve your roll, right? So if you're rolling to hit Damien in an offensive stance, you have an extra bonus to attack. But if he rolls to hit you back, you'll take the L, right? Because you have less defense,
Okay,
which will also make it easier for him to hit you.
cool. Okay,
And then I think you said you just wrote the stats they modify on your sheet.
Yeah, like I put under offense +2 attack, -2 defense.
Yeah.
Just as a little reminder.
gotcha.
That
Okay,
way
yeah,
when you're
that's
in
what I
combat-
wrote down too, which is like throwing me off now. But
Yeah, because when you're, so how it works is that at the beginning of combat, you'll all be set based on your speed modifier. Then the slowest person will declare what stance they are in first, right? And everyone will do that because the fastest person will. The reason they gave you is because the fastest person can react to everything else, right? So they have more of an idea of what everybody else is doing.
Yeah,
Cool.
so if everyone else is in the like quick stance or something, then maybe you'll do defensive or
Yeah,
something.
but and so when you roll to attack or whatever you try to do in that round, like your rolls will be modified based on what stance you're in.
Cool. Okay. And we haven't gotten to where we get attacked yet.
Oh, you have attack, but it depends on your fighting discipline. For a lot of people, it's probably just going to be close combat, or unless you have like a
Okay.
discipline.
Gotcha.
Or if you're doing like a ranged, it'll
Yeah.
probably be shooting and throwing.
Okay. Cool.
And then it's on that page. It will be way of combativeness plus that domain or discipline plus any additional bonuses.
Cool. Thank you.
I will say the character creation for this is probably the longest
Yeah.
out of any game that I've played. Even Pathfinder, which is maybe
Saying
it's
something.
just
I think that might be because you're more familiar with.
yeah,
You have an
That's
idea
fair.
of what you're doing going into Path. At least you do.
yeah.
I mean, I could definitely easily take this long making a Pathfinder character. It's just a whole new system, I think, is what's.
Yeah, but it is on the longer end of
Yeah,
character
absolutely,
creations.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily. It's just it can turn a lot of people off.
I think, I definitely wouldn't. If somebody was like new to TTRPGs, I wouldn't start them with this, right?
Yeah.
And I have the same feelings about Pathfinder, right? Because, like you said,
It would just be like, what is all?
what is
of-
math, right?
Yeah,
I don't want to play Mathfinder,
You want me
Lamau.
to like calculate all the stuff? Like I could just play a video
Right,
game,
dude, I just wanna
and
hit
I don't
shit,
have
man.
to do
Yeah,
all
exactly.
this stuff.
Yeah.
Survival points.
Yeah, and I would say like we always encourage session zeros, obviously, but like specifically with a game like this,
Yeah.
don't try to just like
Necessary.
have everybody
Really
show
quick
up and,
before
like,
the
play.
start. Yeah, no, it definitely deserves its own day.
Well, especially when you can just start the game with like an adversary. Like you kind of
Not again.
What's up?
keep on
Oh,
hitting the
just keep on
scroll
hitting
bar
the
on the
scroll
side.
bar.
Oh, yeah, that's the
It's
worst.
just me being a dumb.
No, I've done it a bunch of times. No worries.
I'm gonna blame Wesley.
It's my fault.
His PDF.
I mean, I didn't make the PDF.
Yeah, but you sent it to us. You're the
Hashtag
reason
not
we're
my
experiencing this.
What are survival points? I hear you cry.
It looks like you just get 3, right?
You all have survival points, the amount of which must be written down on the character. Is it just 3?
Yeah.
No. Oh, I guess it is base 3 unless you have like an advantage or a disadvantage that changes your total.
I have one.
See?
Yeah.
It's not just 3.
I got 3.
Okay, well, he has 4.
Oh yeah, cool. Good
You have
for
4
him.
or 2.
4.
He has 4.
He's survival, whatever.
A player can decide
That
to
is
use
pretty
one or
nice,
several
though.
points whenever they're using one in a critical moment. They can be used to go beyond their limits, ignore pain, or accomplish a desperate act by calling upon her courage or her innermost willpower. Such activities are not necessarily physical. Survival points may be used for every type of action, given there is a feeling of urgency. So for each survival point you use, you'll suffer a temporary trauma point, stimulating your psychological exhaustion after the scene. These points are added to the sanity chart and can lead to temporary degradation of psychological health.
Cyclical?
Is that the word? Cyclical? Like a bicycle?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where it is. So
Use survival points. Do not refresh.
Mhm.
Therefore, each player should think well about the most opportune moments in which to use them. However, it is possible to acquire more throughout the game by spending experience points. So everyone has 3 except for Joseph because he's really cool.
It's cool
here's-
though because you can roll the die again as one of your options. So like that desperate moment, you can.
Yep.
or you can ignore pain.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I forgot these were things. Rendoth. It's the viral energy of every little thing. Mages use it. It will be more relevant for you. Is mainly used for manifesting their ancestral arts. This level is calculated with the following formula, and there's a spot for it on the back of your sheet. It's the way of empathy plus the way of combativeness plus the weight of creativity.
Yeah, so my rating is 11,
Nice.
which I think is good.
Mine's 10.
I don't
Never
have
mind,
one.
it's bad.
Oh. No. That hurts my feelings.
You guys have yours.
Yeah, mine's 8.
The next exaltation is just your conviction times 3. And that's generated by faith. And people from the temple use it to perform miracles, which I don't think applies to our group. But
Yeah.
maybe we'll meet a really holy guy.
I am beautiful and charismatic times 2. So I am the miracle.
True.
Yeah, I'm magnificent and magnetic. And I can hear well. And I'm fast.
Are those advantages?
Yeah.
Magnetic?
Yeah, magnetic is charismatic, but like
Oh,
the
times
double
2.
one.
Yeah. And then magnificent is the beauty one.
Beautiful
Okay.
times 2.
And then if you have your Rendoth and your conviction, its prices and equipment, we can do that on the side, I guess. But do we want to talk about money, like the currency of the game?
Yeah.
So essentially, there's 3 types of dowels, which are like the currency coins. And how it works is 100 Ember dowels or 10 Azure dowels, which is 1 Frost dowel, right? So the Frost being the most valuable, so the Ember ones being the most common. Then there's a breakdown of how much you earn per day based on whatever your occupation is. And then to calculate your starting wages, there is math you do somewhere.
30 days worth of daily wages.
Thank you. And then following that, there are a couple pages of all the things you can buy. Do your math and then buy whatever you want. And then we'll start next week. I think that's pretty much it.
Awesome.
For you, do you want to talk about? I know we already did like briefly at the beginning. Talked about the magic system. Do you want to talk about it in more detail now, or do you want to wait until episode 1 when we're actually casting?
I think we can wait until episode 1 because
Okay.
I think I also need to talk with you about like what exactly kind of a magic stone thing I might have.
Yeah, I think you can start with up to 3.
Oh,
I don't know if I read that right. I'll reread that at some point. But you may be able to start with like up to 3 different ones.
Okay.
I mean, we can. If you don't want 3, we can talk about like you can just start with 1 if you feel like it makes more sense flavor wise.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll figure that.
We'll figure it out. But yeah,
Oh.
we'll talk about magic more episode 1 then.
We can go around though and maybe just talk about our character and if we have a name for them yet, which I don't have a name for my guy.
I'll go first. I don't have a guy. Next.
Me. Oh, it's Joseph. I'm lying.
Oh, okay. So my character is Ragnvald of Koskin.
That's so fucking cool, man. I hate that. I hate you, man.
Thank you. Yeah.
I love that name.
Yeah, Ragnvald was orphaned, and then when he joined the military, he became a page and then just got promoted to being a squire for a knight. The knight's name was Eystein, and he just died. And that is why he is out traveling.
My boy.
Eystein was known for jousting, and Ragnvald was in charge of cleaning his wounds and helping nurse him and his horse back to health. And so he has a very high science and like medicine type score. And his secondary is erudition, which is like he's learned. He has studied.
He can read.
These medical things. He can read. And he has an affinity for animals.
Cool.
Yeah. He, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's about it. He's nimble, smart, also took a point in survival to show that kind of connection with the animals around him.
Cool.
Yep. But he's poor. Those are all my advantages and disadvantages. And yeah, that's about it.
Neat.
I don't have a lot to my character yet, TBH. So,
Okay. Do you want to say anything, or you want to save it for another time?
I mean, other than like what we talked about earlier, how she's Tarish, which is the like nomadic people, and that she's a Varigal. I don't have like all the connecting tissue yet to her character, so I'm gonna just let it be.
Double it and
for
give it
now.
to the next person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I at least have a first name for my character, Otis. He's a 17-year-old rat catcher who just didn't want to be a peasant anymore, so now he's just a peasant in a town rather than on a farm.
It isn't a step up.
I guess. He's one of the people of the continent, which to me kind of sounds like a native in a way. I'll have to read more into how they work, but
Yeah, I think, and I'll have to double read it too because it's been a minute, but like they are native people. I think everybody but the Tarish are native people.
mm-hmm.
It's just different areas for the most part and different like schools of thought. Yeah.
Let's see. He has been born under a lucky star, so he's very lucky. Gets a +2 to his luck rolls, and he is also intuitive, which gives him bonuses to a couple things. He is poor, however, and has an enemy that is to be determined. He is. I mean, we talked about it a little bit already, but like he was trained by his father a little bit in Demorthan mysteries, so he's going to be able to do a couple magic-y things. Also, he's pretty good at stealth. Beyond that, he is real poor, and yeah. Other character traits is he's intuitive because like his empathy is a 5, but I don't think it's because he's like really good with people. I think he just can read people, you know?
Yeah.
Because he's also doubting. So he's just a big downer. Just, why are we even doing this?
We're all gonna die anyway, man.
Yeah.
Did you end up putting a point in the discipline sigil?
Yes, I did.
Okay, cool. Just making sure.
Yeah, so I should actually be able to use whatever.
You should potentially be able to use whatever stone you have.
Yeah. But that's it. I don't think I'm actually going to give this guy a last name because I think medieval wise, your last name was your profession.
Yeah, your title type beat.
Yeah, it would be your profession or where you're from. Yeah.
Yeah, so
you can pick a place that can be Otis the rat catcher, right? Like
Otis the rat catcher. It's done. It's canon. And that's him.
Stevie, if you would.
Hello.
Hello.
This lady's name is Vera. She's tall and beautiful and has like a really magnetic personality. She's also fast.
Fast.
Yeah. But she's absolutely like she's big. She's like tall, but she's also pretty muscular and stuff, you know, because she's one of the Osag people. And she's terrified of moths, though, and has like a weird, like a couple enemies for reasons that are yet to be determined. And she can be a little shy sometimes.
Neat.
And she's absent-minded and resourceful.
What does absent-minded mean?
You're just kind of like in your own world a little bit. I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example.
It's one of your character traits, though.
I mean, like, I went mechanically. Like, does it do something?
It's just one of my character traits.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just.
Okay.
Maybe
I didn't know
her
if it was like an advantage or a
is why
disadvantage.
one of her enemies hates her.
True, because she was
She
like,
was like, "Oh shit! I didn't even know you were there."
Yeah,
and they're like, they took it as an insult.
Yeah. What do you mean you didn't know I was there? You're saying I'm not even worth noticing? Cool. What occupation? A craftsman, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I have the discipline smithing, and also sweet talk.
That's a discipline.
in relation. Yeah.
Oh, Pog. Well, cool. I'm very excited to start this game. I'm not nervous at all.
Dude.
Yeah, dude.
I'm so stoked.
These are sweet.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. That's all I have. Unless there's any last minute questions.
Nah.
Okay. Well, in that case, hey, thanks for listening. I'll catch you guys next week. You stink.
Yeah, later,
Bye.
rejects.
Deuces.
Bye.